Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. And today I'm going to talk about should you stay or should you go? Because there's so many people in relationships, they find out, oh my goodness, I'm married to a narcissist or I'm in a long-term relationship with a narcissist. Does that mean I have to go or should I stay? Well, here it is, you guys. There's so many factors you have to take into consideration when you find yourself in a situation with a narcissist, okay? And I'm going to go over a few things. First of all, when you're in a relationship, let's say you're married to a narcissist, and let's say you have children, okay? You've got to look at the pros and the cons of leaving. You've got to look at, okay, if I were to leave this person, what would my life be like, okay? When you have children and your children are under 18 and you have custody issues, you're going to have visitation back and forth. You're going to have to work all these things out in court, and people do it, okay? You're going to have to figure out finances. This is why when you go to court, you have to make sure that you get everything that you need in that stipulation, okay? As far as financial, as far as visitation, as far as anything that is necessary for the children so that you don't fight later on and have to go back to court, even though some people, have to go back because the other person is not following the stipulation, but you want it down on paper in black and white, what's going to be. And you have to be okay with these kind of things. You have to be okay with the fact that visitation might be every other weekend, or that person, that narcissist that you're divorcing may not come and get the kids every weekend, because a lot of narcissists are spiteful and they'll try to stick it to you and not come and get the kids so that you don't have your freedom to go out and do anything, all right? So you have to know the narcissist that you're with. And if you were to divorce them, what would that mean? What would that mean? Would that person be co-parenting in a peaceful way, or is that person going to try to make your life hell? All right. And you've got to be prepared for that. And when you're considering whether to leave, there's so many factors. Like I said, you've got to look at your financial situation, whether you could support yourself. You've got to look at, who's going to take care of the children if you have children. You've got to be able to stand alone and be able to, be okay if you don't have somebody helping you, if you have children and stuff like that, or even if you don't have children, are you going to be okay? And that's where internal strength comes in, you guys. You've got to have that internal strength. And in order to divorce a narcissist, you've got to have a lot of courage. You've got to have a lot of courage to walk away from that relationship. Now, before you decide whether you should stay or go, what I recommend is you write down on a piece of paper the pros and the cons of being with this person. What are the pros of being with this person? Do you have great sex with this person? Does this person help you out in any way? Maybe they help you around the house. Maybe they do errands for you. Maybe they alleviate things in your life to make your life a little easier here or there, but they're narcissistic, okay? You really have to look into yourself and decide what you can live with and what you can't. If you're a person that is just miserable every day and you're dealing with a real miserable narcissist that all they do is put you down, okay? Like we said, with narcissism, it's a spectrum, okay? So somebody could have a couple of narcissistic traits, but they could be okay. And then you could be dealing with a flat out, idiot who treats you lousy. And when you're dealing with somebody who's very narcissistic, very abusive emotionally, they are going to break you down and give you depression and anxiety, okay? You're going to feel like you're living in a black hole. How do I know? Because I was that person, all right? And for a long time, when you're with this person, you don't know whether to stay or go. A lot of times when people leave a narcissist, they don't just leave the narcissist. They're like in a standing point of like maybe 2 years, 3 years, where they haven't been happy, and they get to a point where they're like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm miserable. I can't do this anymore. I'm not relating to this person. And see, the problem with a narcissist, and especially if you're dealing with a covert narcissist, which I dealt with for so many years, A covert narcissist is not a communicator, okay? They don't come out and tell you what's wrong or how to work it. You can't get to a resolution with somebody who will not communicate their feelings. Covert narcissists don't tell you what's on their minds. They pay you back in other ways. They give you the silent treatment, or they pretend to be okay with everything. And then later on, they may have a face on at a family party. They'll talk about you to their family and friends behind your back. Okay. So half the time you don't even know what's going on in their head because they don't communicate. So you feel very fragmented from this person. And this is why you're having a tough time with the covert narcissist, because you're not connecting, because the covert narcissist is not connecting with you because they don't trust you. They don't trust you, you guys. Why? Because a lot of times these covert narcissists are programmed, and a lot of times it's from their families, okay? I always tell you, look at that family, man. They're programmed from their families to not open up, okay? They're conditioned to feel like, you know what? Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't open up. Don't say anything, okay? So you're not together as one. You're not coming together as God says in marriage and becoming one, okay? Because that covert narcissist is not completely opening up, and they're not giving and being transparent with you. So although you're living with this person and you're thinking, okay, things are okay, we get through the day and everything like that, we're able to talk and all that, we're not connected. And that's because you're dealing with a covert narcissist that's not opening up and being transparent with you. And that's a horrible way to live. Believe me, I lived it for many years. So that's why I could speak about it, because I know what it is, you guys. And for many years, I struggled with it, and I tried to connect with this person, and this person would tell me, oh, I don't have a problem, you have a problem, or I'm not unhappy, or something like that. And we just weren't connected because this person, had a connection to their family, and they were more connected to their family than they were to their partner. And that's a problem. When you have a narcissist that you're married to, or you're in a relationship, and they have a stronger bond with outsiders, it could be their family, or it could be their friends, you're going to have a hard time with it, because their priority, their loyalty is not to you. Their loyalty is to these outsiders, okay, that they give more importance to than they give to you. So although they'll appear to be with you, and they're with you in body, mentally, they're not completely with you, okay? They're holding back, and a covert narcissist holds back. They're passive aggressive, and they hold back. They won't tell you what's wrong, okay? They love to give you the silent treatment, all right? Or freeze you out on the couch or whatever, because they don't have the courage to sit down and talk with you, or they don't want to because they're not with you, okay? They're not with you mentally. Their mind is somewhere else, and they're unhappy about certain things about you. And that could be because of the flying monkeys talked bad about you to the narcissist. So now the narcissist can't bring it up to you because the narcissist is afraid you're going to flip out. So they hold it back, okay? They hold it back. But where the narcissist made the problem is that the narcissist went and talked about your relationship and was talking about your relationship to outsiders, their family, their friends, and everything like this. So now this covert narcissist is holding a secret from you. They're not opening up. You're not able to resolve the problem, and you're just drifting with this person, okay? And you get to a point where you say to yourself, you know what? I'm not happy. I'm not connecting with this person. This person walks around, they have a face on, or they don't seem happy, or they don't feel they could trust me. They hide things. Narcissists love to hide things. They hide information, they hide money, they hide whatever, okay? Because remember the core of the narcissist, they don't trust. They've been brought up, and their own personality, their innate personality plus their environment made them what they are. So they don't trust. And when you have somebody that doesn't trust you, They're never, ever going to be completely in on the relationship. And now you've got to decide, am I going to stay with this person or am I going to, get out of this while I can? And here's my advice to you, you guys. Like I said, you've got to look at all the factors, all right? Like when I got divorced, one of the things that was really difficult for me was what my children had to go through, okay? The fact that they had to go every other weekend to my ex's house, and they had to deal with traveling on the roads, and it was just, and the bad feelings and everything like that. What really kills you when you get a divorce is the impact on the children, okay? And like if you're thinking about divorcing a narcissist or leaving a narcissist, you better put your kids in therapy. I really recommend therapy because the children may not come to you and tell you what's really going on inside them, but they need an outlet. Children need an outlet because it's not easy when you have two parents and it's not, amiable or anything like that. So you've got to look at all these factors, the child factor, whether you could support yourself, what your life will be like if you do leave the narcissist. You've got to decide how bad is that narcissist in order to leave them, okay? How bad is this person? Is it always bad? Is it sometimes bad? Do you have happy times? It's like when I was married, one of my family members said to me, well, there's got to be good times, okay? When you're in a serious relationship, it can't all just be sad times, fighting times, or even just drifting times. You've got to have your highs. You can't just have your floating or lows, because you're living your life. You want to be happy. You've got to have your highs where you do have good times. And if you're finding that you're never, ever able to have good times with this person, you can never smile, you can never laugh, you can never enjoy yourself with them, they just make your life miserable, well, then you got to reevaluate and say to yourself, do I want to live my life, the rest of my life like this, okay? And time is important. Trust me when I tell you, time is important because the worst regret you're going to have is wasting your life away, years of your life with somebody, and then realize later on that you should have left them 10 years earlier or 20 years earlier. That's a horrible regret, you guys. So that's why I'm telling you, if you feel that you can't get any happiness by being with this person and you're just flat out miserable and they're just so emotionally abusive, then you really have to consider how you want your life to go and whether you'd be better off if you left. And you've got to also be realistic that if you did leave, you've got to look at what your life would be. Would you be happier on your own? Would you enjoy the peace of not dealing with that person, that peace of not dealing with, the nasty grin or the smirk or the sarcastic remarks or anything like that, or the passive aggressive or always pulling teeth? Would you be happier on your own if you didn't have somebody with you? You've got to look at yourself and decide what would make you happy. And you've got to be realistic. It's not easy when you're on your own, okay? And you've got to be okay with that. And you've got to build yourself up and have your support system, whether it's a support group, friends, therapy, family. You've got to have another outlet there so that, you don't feel like you're all alone if you leave the narcissist, all right? This is why a lot of people stay with narcissists, because they don't want to be alone. They're afraid to be out there on their own because they have nothing going on. If you have something going on, you're not going to be it's going to build up your strength, okay? And you're not going to be so codependent on that narcissist. This is another reason why a lot of controlling narcissists or malignant narcissists, all right, the most cruel narcissists out there, they try to isolate you from your friends and family because they don't want you to have that support system, because they know that if you have a support system, it'll be a lot easier for you to walk out that door, and they don't want you to have it. They want you to be dependent on them. Now, if you're in a type of relationship where there's physical abuse, there should be no question you've got to get out, because with physical abuse, it only progresses and gets worse, okay? The more physical abuse you take, the more you're going to take later on, because now the narcissist knows they could do physical abuse on you and you're not going anywhere. So, but when you do decide that you have to leave somebody like that, you've got to be very, very careful with somebody like that, because they could be very dangerous, and you don't play around with somebody like that. You don't ignite them. You don't argue with them. If anything, you appease them and keep the peace till you can get out of there, and you get out of there in silence. You don't let that narcissist know you're leaving, okay? Because you could be putting yourself in danger. And we see this all the time on Dateline crime stories, 48 hours crime stories. The minute that person was leaving that malignant narcissist is the minute that malignant narcissist went crazy and killed them, okay? Because they lost control. So if you're dealing with somebody very, very dangerous, you've got to prepare for that you have a support system, you have a plan, you have people that will be there for you, and that you'll be safe. You have to find a safe haven, okay? And you, like I said, you leave in silence, or you're putting yourself in major, major danger, okay? So, you got to be careful. Even when you leave somebody like that, you still have to be careful. Let's say you leave a malignant narcissist and now you're living with somebody else. You've got to be careful depending on the person. Even when you're leaving your house, you're not leaving your house, you're going to work. Because if you're dealing with somebody really, really controlling and doesn't want you to walk away from the relationship, you've got to protect yourself, all right? And whatever you have to do, you've got to protect yourself, all right? And you got to be aware of that you cannot play around with somebody like that, all right? Don't think that these people aren't capable of doing something, that could be very dangerous. It happened to a friend of mine when she left somebody. He showed up at her job and he shot her and shot himself. So I'm telling you, you better, if you're dealing with a dangerous person that has shown you that they could be physical with you, you better take that person seriously, that person could hurt you, and don't play around with them, okay? And make sure that you do everything you can do to have that support system, all right? But getting back to whether you should leave or not, it's a personal choice that you have to make. There is no clear-cut answer to this. It depends on you. It depends on what you could live with. It depends on the narcissist you're dealing with, how narcissistic they are, how much they give you happiness. It depends on what your life will be. If you leave the narcissist, will it be a happier existence for you? Sometimes when people leave the narcissist, now they have children, and now they're out there dating, and they're dating with children. It's not easy, so you have to think about that as well. A lot of people think, I'm just going to divorce this person. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to date and everything. When you get divorced and you have children, dating is a whole nother ball game, okay? It's a lot harder to date when you have kids. And people that are single parents, they understand this, okay, you guys? So you've got to take this all into consideration when you're considering whether you want to leave that person or not. And you've got to look at the narcissist that you're dealing with and just decide, am I happy some of the time, none of the time, most of the time? Where am I at? Or am I depressed? Am I anxious? Is this affecting my physical health? These are all factors that you have to think about when you're trying to decide, should I stay or should I go? Okay? So I hope that helps you. If it did, please hit the subscribe button and share the podcast, you guys. And if you have any questions that you want me to address on the podcast, you can send your questions, quick questions, to thegameexposed@aol.com, okay? And I will answer questions on the podcast, okay? If you have a quick question that you want answered. That's thegameexposed@aol.com, all right? Have a great day. If you're having trouble in your relationship, or maybe you're dealing with somebody who's a narcissist, and you're really confused, you don't know what to do, you need some advice or some clarity, well, I offer email and also phone coaching. Please go to the podcast description for the link on how to get email or phone coaching, or maybe you just have a question that you need answered. All questions will be answered confidentially. So go to the podcast description where it tells you how Yaz can answer your questions. Are you dealing with a toxic person or a narcissist and you don't know how to handle this person? Well, if you have a question and you want it answered, you can get a personalized video sent to you. The link is in the bio, wizio.com/the_game_exposed, and ask a question and have a personalized video sent back to you answering your question. Whether you have a toxic person in your life, a narcissist, you're having a dating or relationship problem, get your question answered. Go to Wizio, WISIO.com/the_game exposed to ask a question. Links in the bio. Hi, you guys, it's Yaz, and I want to tell you about my 2 books on Amazon. The first book is Regain Your Power. It's all about power and relationship. Who has the power in the relationship? And it goes into all of that, okay? The other book is Signs He's Not Into You, He's Wasting Your Time, okay? Check it out. It gives you a lot of good clues as to whether you're with somebody who's a real one or somebody who's just going to waste your time. You could read them both with Kindle's free trial membership. So check it out. Link is in the podcast description. Hi, you guys. I just want to make you aware that the Game Exposed podcast now has their merchandise available. You can check out the link in the podcast description. There's hoodies, there's sweatpants, there's t-shirts, there's cool hats. So go check it out. Link is in the podcast description. And follow Yaz on Instagram at dating_advice_Yaz.